On September 26th, 2024, I created a new YouTube channel called RuneScape Dailies Awesome. A channel where for the next several months of my life, I would upload myself playing RuneScape every single day. There's tons of videos about RuneScape on YouTube. I even made one of my own a few years back. But what sets RuneScape Dailies Awesome apart? It's bad. Early on, I'm really not doing anything interesting here. There's no objective or quest. I'm just cutting down trees and making fires. I have my display set so the game's user interface is so absurdly small that you can't even read the text. I have my microphone turned on, but there's no commentary. You get the sound of my keyboard, my laptop overheating, and occasionally, if you're lucky, I might sneeze. I love making my main channel videos, these big, heavily edited, elaborate projects, and I wanted this to feel like the opposite. I wanted this to be extremely low quality and seemingly pointless. Just a random guy uploading themselves wandering around RuneScape aimlessly every single day. I didn't announce this anywhere on my main channel or my socials. The only place I announced this was on another small side channel I'm a part of. Oh, that's a whole separate bit. That's a story for another day. Aside from a handful of friends, the only people I wanted coming across these videos were people who had no idea who I was or what to expect from a video called Old School RuneScape Dailies 2. Dude plays on a 16x48 monitor next to the local intersection. So, how long can a channel like this truly last? How much can I find to do in RuneScape to keep it varied and fun? This is the story of me seeing how long I can keep a bit going, and the people unfortunate enough to encounter the bit. On the channel, I split videos into little chapters. It makes it a little easier to follow along with the ongoing storyline, you know? So the first chapter is really just me wandering around low-level areas of the game, places like the Grand Exchange and, of course, Lumbridge. Most of these videos are also like 3 minutes long at most. Sometimes they're only like 20 to 40 seconds. This is how I started every single day. Wake up, play RuneScape for 2 minutes, upload, go to work. I'm not doing anything that exciting early on, but I'm keeping it varied at least. Sometimes I'm fighting some guys, or I'm cutting down trees, or I'm cooking a meal, or I'm just spamming emotes. I use this bunny hop emote a lot because it kind of looks like Gangnam Style, and I thought that was funny. Little did I know I'd get the real thing before too long, but we'll come back to that. Episode 6 is one of the best of these early ones. It's 2 minutes of me waiting for the game to update. Another real classic from the early days is number 18, where I stand completely still and pretend to cry into the microphone. One of my favorite parts of the channel is just the profile picture. The in-game text was too small to see my username as Tad, I guess, so people just called me Mithril Guy after the armor set I wore. I wear the same armor for almost the entire series, although early on I do wear a chef hat for a few episodes while I'm cooking. From time to time, I'll get comments asking me what's wrong with my audio, why does it sound like that? Sometimes I'll respond with a joke like, yeah, I record these inside the walls where the AC unit is. Some people played along, but the people who didn't get the joke are what made this series so fun for me. You need to fix your audio. Do you not like my commentary? The audio is like you're on a highway or something. Do you even listen to it before you upload? It sounds pretty good to me. I'm not sure what you mean. You gotta be joking, right? I don't know, maybe check your speakers. To answer this person's question, no, I don't listen to it before I upload. I got a lot of comments about my display very early on, too. What the hell, bro? You got a 16K monitor? I am both amazed and horrified to see you can play this way. Yeah, it's my RuneScape monitor. For the most part though, people were into the bit. I got a surprising number of really nice and supportive comments from people who thought these videos were funny. The first 22 days are just little one-off videos where I find a small thing to do in the game, but things would change very soon. From day 23 to 33, I'm participating in RuneScape's 2024 Halloween event. Falador has cool jack-o'-lanterns and Halloween decorations everywhere, and there's a special quest taking place at the farm. farm. You had to match different colored pumpkins to make the cat image appear, you get to make a little scarecrow, and your reward for completing everything is a cool pumpkin head you can wear. I finished the quest before Halloween, so I spent a couple more days just walking around looking at decorations. I found this cool dog who was dressed up too, that made me really happy. Around this time, my audio was also getting a lot worse somehow. Day 29 is our worst day yet. The Halloween quest sort of changed my outlook on this series. For a little over a week, I had a set goal, a specific thing I wanted to do, and I thought it would be cool to do more stuff like that. So I picked another quest, Gertrude's Cat. I chose this one because you actually get a pet cat from completing it, and that sounded awesome. For this quest, I need to fish to get a sardine, but I never really figured out fishing in RuneScape up to this point, so I just gave up and bought one, and just like that, I have a new cat companion. So now I'm wandering around aimlessly, but with a cat, which is awesome. Unfortunately, they need food to live. Wait, you need what? Even more unfortunately, they need fish to live. And as we've established, I don't know how to fish yet. I was able to figure it out, sort of, but my fishing level was so low that I couldn't catch much. Also, I would soon learn that if you explore a really dangerous cave that you aren't equipped to handle and die, your cat runs away and leaves you forever. I could reclaim my items from death, but my cat was gone. So I went right back to where I got the first cat and just got a second cat. And then a few days later, I forgot about feeding it, and it runs away again. In my defense, I can't read the text warning me that the cat's hungry because it's too small. After losing 2 cats, I decide to become evil for a while. I spend a whole day pickpocketing one guy multiple times in a row, but on day 56, my turn to the evil side is fully complete, where I finally change my armor set and start playing the Shadow the Hedgehog theme through my microphone. I loved making these so much, and this one in particular got some of the best comments of the series. People were really into this for some reason. And I want to go back and talk about some of our comments again, because we actually have a couple of regulars by this point. First of which being Duffley. This is my friend who helped me get into RuneScape back in 2021, and by that I mean we spammed emotes for 15 minutes. Duffley has watched every single episode of this series, and has left a unique comment on all of them. Making these is easy, there is no effort on my part. Actually watching them is not, so props to Duffley. On day 50, maybe Jeff makes their first appearance. Unlike Duffley, I had no idea who this was. This was somebody who just randomly stumbled across the channel and became a regular commenter from that point onwards. Harry Burger Vivo also shows up a bit after and pops in from time to time. It's still wild to me to think that anybody was watching these. Another frequent comment I got was, where did they get all that money? I have all of this from day 1, and that's because when I did my 2021 RuneScape video, a random guy just gave me all of this. So anytime I needed to buy something in this series, I was set. I have basically infinite wealth. Anyway, now that I'm wearing the evil armor, I banish myself into the wilderness, a dangerous wasteland where players are able to fight each other. I spent a few days wandering this area, and it's here where I get maybe my favorite comment in the channel's history. Take off that evil armor that is twisting your mind, and leave that treacherous land behind. It is not too late to return to the light. I don't know who this is. This is a random commenter. I love RuneScape. The Evil Saga starts extremely strong with like a week of really funny ones. But eventually we return to wandering aimlessly with a muted microphone. It never really goes anywhere and ends with me just getting bored and taking off the armor. But hey, now it's time for the Christmas 2024 event. Guards all have Santa hats, there's snow and decorations everywhere. It's truly a festive and wonderful time to not be wearing the armor that makes you evil anymore. There's another quest to get some cool holiday items, but as usual, I do a lot of just walking around. Day 81 is one of my favorites in the entire series. I love in-game holiday events like this. They just feel so fun and cozy. We also get the long-awaited return of my awful microphone, and my cat Rocco shows up to purr into it. I have to deliver a bunch of invitations to the holiday party, and I spend a day on each one. Eventually, it's time for the Christmas party, where everyone gets an awesome Christmas doggy, except me. But after losing 2 cats, I'm clearly not responsible enough for that. Like the Halloween event, I timed it kinda poorly to where I ran out of things to do a few days before the actual holiday, so I just find things to keep myself busy before delivering a truly magical Christmas special.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
I also found a really cool museum hidden underneath the party room, and I spent a couple days wandering around here. This is a really cool area, lots of fun stuff to see. 2025 begins with my favorite saga for the entire channel. Some of these start strong and get dull, some have their moments, but this is the one chapter that I loved doing from start to finish. The fishing arc. After returning to Lumbridge, I go through the gate and wander into the desert. It's here where I celebrate day 100. I definitely didn't think I'd still be making these by this point. But day 100 is actually really significant. I had my identity stolen. My buddy Ryan from sweetgaming started a new series on their side channel, sweetgaming Archive. A series they called Daily Old School RuneScape.
You what?
I'm kidding, I actually think this is really cool. Technically, the inspiration for my series was based on a video that my friend Cadence made, and I thought it was cool that this series inspired Ryan to do another series. In fact, I hope more people do Daily RuneScape. Come on, Basil, you know you want to do it, we're all waiting. I also think it's cool that Ryan's series, despite a similar concept, ends up being pretty different. I had like 20 to 30 hours in RuneScape from a few years ago. I had played quite a bit prior to starting the channel, so I sorta know what I'm doing. Ryan only played the game once when we did a video together a few years ago, and hasn't played anything past the tutorial and is still figuring out the game. And while I have no commentary aside from loud static, Ryan actually gives commentary throughout and even has guests in some episodes. Both of these series serve a different purpose, and if you want more RuneScape, I'd recommend checking it out. Ryan's series features Quoops? Alright, now that there's competition, I need to step up my game. Also, I was 100 days into this, and I wanted to shake things up to not get bored. So over 100 days in, I finally made a pretty drastic change to the series. I was going to fix the display settings. Well, first I made it much worse because I thought it would be funny. Instead of being tiny, I made the UI massive and take up the entire screen. But now, for the first time, you can read the text. And I can give commentary throughout using the in-game chat. You might think that ruins the joke, but it actually creates a new joke. I think it's really funny having my microphone clearly turned on, and instead of actually talking into it, you can just hear me typing on my keyboard. I also have a new objective. This guy wants me to help fight Temporos. I don't know, one of the game's giant bosses. But I needed like level 35 fishing to do the encounter, and I was like level 2 maybe. I thought it would be funny to grind all the way to 35 just to instantly lose to the boss. And so I spent days right here in this spot, fishing for shrimps with my net, running back to this building to cook them when my inventory was full, and running right back to my fishing spot. And these episodes were long. Instead of my usual 2 to 3 minutes, I was going from 10 to 15. I was actually getting so into the fishing grind. And I started to figure out how fishing worked. So certain spots allow you to catch specific fish, but you need specific levels and equipment to catch those fish. So you grind and grind until you level up enough to catch something bigger and better. I was having so much fun fishing and cooking and fishing and cooking. I would travel far to get better fishing gear and then ran right back to my spot. But genuinely, this was some of the most fun I've ever had in RuneScape. This was mindless work, but I was having a great time. Some of these episodes got up to like 30 minutes because I just lost track of time. Eventually, I had a high enough fishing level to move to Lumbridge, which was a nice change of scenery, and led to some pretty fun episodes. I spend day 166 fishing while a goblin skull watches me, and whenever I move to a new spot, I move the skull with me. This lasts like half an hour. But on day 117, I make a new enemy. I love trying to talk to other players. I just say something stupid like, "Do you like RuneScape? I like RuneScape." And I try to do the same with this fellow fisherman. "I see you like fishing in RuneScape. I also enjoy this. They never respond, I assume they're AFK while fishing, but here I am anyway, hanging out with my new fisherman buddy. And eventually, there's a bunch of us. There's a wizard guy, there's a fellow mithril guy. Eventually, chef hat guy comes back and says, I'm fishing. I'm also about to be fishing. Fishing in RuneScape is awesome. I'm better at fishing. Whoa, whoa! So I'm already getting pretty bad vibes from this dude. After a bit, my fishing spot runs out, so I politely excuse myself and move over there. Dude sprints over here and says, I'm taking your fish. Bro, what? Noob! I'm crying. Please be nice to me right now. I'm better at crying. And for the next several minutes, I keep trying to move over fishing spots, and he keeps stealing it from me. And one of my favorite YouTube comments, wow, that Hulk Hogan chef hat guy was mean. Keep your head up, RuneScape Dailies awesome. I love this game so much. The next day, I fished next to another mithril guy who thankfully doesn't say much. And before too long, I finally hit fishing level 35. I say before too long, this did take several hours of my life. But the moment that me and all of the people watching these daily for some reason had been waiting for was here. It was time to fight Temporos. The plan was for this to be a bit where I just lose instantly and move on to something else. But after weeks of preparation, I wanted to give it an honest shot. And with the people watching this seemingly genuinely excited for this long-hyped encounter, I felt I owed it to them. I also go to get a third cat to join me for this battle. Temporos is not a traditional boss fight where you just run up and deal damage. You have to, like, fish for these fish that you load into a fish gun and then you shoot them at the guy. But they're constantly making huge waves that make you lose items, so you have to tie yourself down to not fall, but then you have to repair that before the next storm, and you also have to constantly put out fires. Basically, you're having to manage a ton of stuff at once. It took me several tries, and close to an hour altogether, but after a couple of days, I actually managed to pull it off. I beat Temporos guy. I felt really accomplished in that moment. I started this series as a bit that went way too far, but now I've managed to actually achieve something pretty cool after like a month of preparation. I think the fishing saga was the peak of RuneScape Dailies awesome. The series would continue for a long while after this, but there's only really a few notable things that happened. I went to Remington to visit my home portal. I thought it would be fun to work on construction, but after reading about it, it seemed really not fun. I also accidentally deleted my entire house. I don't know how to get it back, you guys. I think it's just gone. I do a bunch of other quests here and there, none of which were all too challenging or exciting, just stuff to do. And it was cool that I was actually doing stuff and just playing the game now, but I think it also lost a little bit of that magic by becoming an actual RuneScape playthrough. I do have a nice chat with a random player outside the Grand Exchange who talks about the agility training they're working on. And from what they were describing, that sounded like it was pretty fun, but I never ended up doing much with that. This person was also kind enough to give me some better armor. I need level 30 defense to equip it, so I can't use it yet. I'm still Mithril guy, but what a kind individual. On March 5th, 2025, at 1:09 a.m., I got a very important message from Duffley. There's a birthday event in Falador, where you can get a Gangnam-style emote. I had been doing the bunny hop for months, but you're telling me the actual legitimate Gangnam Style is in this video game? I was in the middle of a quest, but I dropped everything that I was doing for this event. I got a bunch of other really silly items too, but I cannot properly convey the pure joy that I experienced when I started doing Gangnam Style in RuneScape. This meant the world to me.
Waiting for them to play Gangnam Style.
And from this point on, anytime I killed anything, I would spam this immediately after. On April 1st, I didn't have access to my computer, and I thought that was going to be it. We missed a day, series over. But I remembered it was April Fool's Day, and I made it work. But later in April, I would be going on a trip for a few days to stay out in nature, unplug and de-stress, just hang out in the wilderness and draw some cool monsters. I didn't want to worry about getting RuneScapes out while I was trying to relax. And at this point, we were nearing 200 days. It felt like around the time for a natural stopping point. But I wasn't going to just randomly end the series. I had some time to prepare and make sure the final 8 episodes of the series were the absolute best. I wanted to conclude this saga on the highest possible note. Day 200 was a huge milestone for me, and also Ryan, who was celebrating their day 100. We decided to do a crossover episode, though figuring out how to pull it off took some real thought, just because our styles were so different. We decided to stay true to those styles though, resulting in a pretty unusual episode for both of us, where Ryan is speaking and giving commentary, and I'm still only communicating to them through the in-game chat and occasional coughs.
Tad? Oh my god, look, dude, long time no see. You play RuneScape? Hey, I hear you typing. Are you gonna say anything? Whoa, that's awesome. Okay. Waiting for Tad to do Gangnam Style.
This was a fun time wandering around Lumbridge. We encountered a bot spamming OnlyFans links, which is something I'd never seen in RuneScape before. While I don't speak in this episode, I do pull off a pretty good Lego Yoda death sound at the end.
Well, thanks for playing some RuneScape with me, Tad. Alright, see ya.
I spend all of 201 at the Grand Exchange, one of my favorite and most populated areas of the game. And I keep switching different servers just to see what's going on in each of them and trying to trade my useless items to people. It's just fun to interact with random players. Why are you trading me, ugly boy? RuneScape Awesome style? At the start of 202, I use a random teleport item I just bought to send myself somewhere new. And from there, I take a boat to somewhere else new. Just get as lost as possible for this one. And where I end up is playing the saddest song I've ever heard. I come across the Myths Guild, but I'm not cool enough to get in, so I just work on my woodcutting skill instead. In 203, I do something I had set up a long time ago. I finally take that random guy's advice and do some agility training. I run across these rooftops in Draenor, just doing laps for a bit. And honestly, this was pretty fun. I'm glad I got to at least try this one time. 204 is a long one, over 30 minutes. And that's because the Easter 2025 event has begun. Before, I would draw these events out for a week or two, but since we were in the final run of the series, I just wanted to knock out the whole thing in one go. These events were always a fun time, and I unlocked this strange carrot costume at the end. Awesome! 205, I go back into the wilds to fight some tough opponents, and then I die. I reclaim my items and head to the barbarian village, spending like 15 to 20 minutes fighting barbarians until I get my defense skill up to level 30. In 206, I reflect on my journey thus far. For over 200 days now, I had been running around in my mithril armor, aside from my little emo phase, but now I had finally hit defense level 30. I could finally equip that adamant armor that was given to me by that random player who was talking about their agility training. This felt like a good way to end the saga of RuneScape Dailies Awesome. After all this time, they finally got an armor upgrade. Some nice little character development, but there was still one episode remaining. In 207, the series finale, I made plans to meet up with somebody very important. But to meet up with them, I had to first switch to a non-membership world, but I couldn't do that because I was in a members-only area, so I tried to teleport back to Lumbridge, but I couldn't do that because you can't teleport out of the wilds, I guess, so I just had to die real quick. I head back to Lumbridge and I meet up with my pal Duffley. They gave me some even better adamant armor. Look at this, it's got little stripes on it. We did some cool fishing together, but we mostly did some Gangnam Style. Back in 2021, Duffley was the one who helped me get into this game, and was the one who had been there to watch every single episode of the series and leave a comment on it. So I knew pretty early on this is how I wanted to finish the final episode. Me and Duffley head to the exchange, give one final bow, and send off this series in style. I love creating stuff just for the sake of creation. Even something as nonsensical and pointless as a bad daily RuneScape playthrough, there was still a lot of room for creativity. Trying to figure out where to take the channel to keep things fun, and I think not telling anyone about it until it was over really added to the fun for me. Genuinely, this has been one of my favorite creative endeavors, as ridiculous as that sounds. And it gave me a great opportunity to dive deeper into RuneScape. Playing daily forced me to try new things and discover loads about the game I never even knew existed. Back in 2021 when I did my video, that was pretty surface level RuneScape, and it was so much fun to explore beyond that. This is probably one of the best video games ever made, and yes, Gangnam Style is definitely a contributing factor there. I don't think the concept for this channel would have worked this well with any other game. It's a massive open world that gives you the freedom to do absolutely whatever you want, and there is a ton to do. It's a game you can take seriously and tackle huge tasks, but it's also an incredibly silly and charming game. Wasting time and doing nothing is still really fun. Thank you to anybody who watched old school RuneScape Dailies on RuneScape Dailies Awesome. I had a lot of fun making them, and that channel will remain up. If for some reason you want to go back to any of those videos and watch the whole series from start to finish, you can. It's still there. If this video gets 1 million views, I will get this image tattooed on my body.